I'm really confused about... In this box is a Surfmaster Quad in Firenza Red. And in this video, I'm going to unbox it, I'm going to play it, we're going to open it up, and then I'm going to let you know if it's worth your money or not. It's very, I was going to say light, medium weight, shall we say. I will weigh it, of course, and give you those specs in a moment. Let's get it out of the bag, which is always one of my most exciting parts for me. Headstock reveal. It's quite big, quite large. Neck reveal. Oh, good stuff coming. And then the Firenza Red body. That is beautiful. My word, what a gorgeous looking guitar. That is stunning. And also, there is a lot going on. We've got, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4 pickups, hence the quad, and then 4 switches, 2 knobs, no push-pull, and then this, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different settings on that. Well, that is anything but usual. From the minds of Alan Entwistle and the guys at Vintage, this is the Revo series, which is kind of like a sort of Fender Squier Paranormal series, and I love it. I've loved all the Revo series guitars that I've reviewed so far, and this, first impressions, feels like a thicker neck than the other models I've played, so it's not just like they're sticking the same neck on everything. This feels more vintage, although it is a little bit sticky. I can't wait to plug this in. I'm going to go through the Fender Deluxe Reverb. I'm also going to go through the Boss Katana Artist, so we have a bit more of an affordable sound there. And you bet I'm going to put this through some fuzz and some reverb. Right, tuning experience. Okay, it's in tune. I want to give it some surf, so let's whack up the reverb on this and give it a little bit of surfy surf. And let's put the tram bar in. I hate doing this on these. Hang on. Right, it pushes quite deep in and then it sticks. So it's not going to fall out. Surfing time! Let's see if it's still in tune. Pretty close. I mean, that's pretty good. And I don't think this tram is made for dive bombing, but it's nice and wobbly, and there's a tension there. It's not like flopping about. There's a nice bounce. Hang on. Nice little warble, and I'm barely touching it, which is a good sign. The roller saddles are doing an amazing job, even though that bridge looks very weird, and I've not dealt with it. I think this might be the first time I've ever used a bridge that looks like that. You can adjust the saddles going back and forth using an Allen key, an Allen Entwistle key maybe. And then as for the nuts, everything's great. Everything's cut well. It's a little bit, there was a bit of, what's the word? Pinging, not pinging, rattling. And I think it might have been behind the bridge. So I just push those down a bit and it's there. There, it's there somewhere, but it stopped earlier, now it's back. What is that? What is that? That's the, I think it's the spring in there. It's definitely vibrating. It feels, yeah, something's not quite right there. There we go, done. That wasn't in properly. Fixed it. Right. If you've seen any of my other Vintage Revo series videos, you'll know that these are not regular guitars. This one is definitely in the vintage inspired era. So we're talking jazz mastery, sort of 50s, 60s stuff. But it's, so within that range, you've got variety and lots of flexibility. Let me show you. We've got 4 switches here, and they turn the pickups on and off. So at the moment, I've got the bridge pickup on. If I did that, I'd have the neck pickup on, and so forth, blah, blah, blah. With the other ones, you can have all 4 pickups on if you want to, which I will do later. And then you've got this, which is the variator, which is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switch, giving you 15 pickup configurations and 75 configurations in total, according to Vintage. So feel free to do the math on that and correct me if you feel that is wrong. We also have master volume and master tone. It's a Thinline, of course, a Jazzmaster style trem, which, as I've already said, is very responsive, although the arm is a bit straight. I would want to bend that up a bit and then bend that down to give it a bit more space between the strings and the arm. And that's just the initial impressions. So I'm going to go through some sounds and then we'll go over the specs. What I'm not going to do is all the combinations, because if it is 75, that's too much for a video. So let's just do bridge and then the act variator. Sorry, weird word. Yeah, variator, 5 settings. Let's see what it does to the sound. That is nuts. Now, it's doing all kinds of things with tone, and I think notching things, like boosting certain parts of the EQ. Even in the manual for this guitar, and it does have one because of all this, it doesn't really explain what it's doing exactly, but I'm hearing changes in mids, and in, let's use like descriptive words, it's getting warmer, and then it's getting like almost banjo style here. Then compare that to, actually that's quite thin as well. Bring the reverb down to a sort of regular amount for that. Knobs are nice and responsive. Let's try the next pickup. It doesn't sound like, it sounds like what it looks like, definitely, but I'm thinking, does it sound like a Jazzmaster? And it doesn't. It definitely doesn't sound like a Strat or anything. Again, Alan Entwistle and Vintage have created something that is very different, although it is going to appeal to people that like offsets and definitely don't want a modern guitar. And I know that should be pretty obvious by looking at this, but it is not modern in any sense of the term. So it has a little quirk, or several quirks, that we'll go over in a bit. Let's do some drive. I'm dying to get this and do some sort of grungy stuff. There's some great tones there, and I wish well, this is the kind of thing, let me finish the sentence. I was going to say that I wish I knew what this did, but it's more a case of I'm feeling more creative not knowing exactly what it does and just using my ears to figure out which one I prefer. Which, of course, means that you have to memorize, like, that pickup on, that pickup off, that one for my favorite setting or whatever, but it takes, like, when you're playing a Strat or a Les Paul, you kind of know, all right, I want bridge, I'm going to flip the bridge and then turn the volume up and the tone maybe to taste. With this, you're like, all right, let's just play around with it. And I think that's one of the most fun things about the Revo series. Let's back off the drive a little bit and do some sort of bluesy stuff. Sorry. Gotta be done. Again, I got lost in the settings. This is really good fun. It's opening up, like, what I do when I play guitar, I do tend to go over the same sort of riffs, and when I'm making videos, I tend to talk about the same sort of things, but different guitars or whatever. With this, I'm finding that, in fact, I just gave away my secrets. Ignore that I just said that. But with this, I'm challenged to remember what I'm doing and use my ears rather than me flip it to the thing that I know. It's super weird and I love it. And I want to try everything, but I'm not going to subject you to that. I'm just going to choose some of my favorites. It's time for some fuzz. I could play this for a long, long time. This is fun. All right. I don't really know what you want. Let's put it to the Boss Katana, because I know that this amp might be a little bit not expensive, but certainly not as common as the Boss these days. Well, I wonder how many amps the Boss Katana sold compared to the Fender Deluxe Reverb. Anyway, this is the artist, but it's got the same sounds as the regulars. Just it's got a few more knobs and whistles. So I'll plug that in there. We'll have a go with Boss. That's just a classic rock sound that I've got on channel 1, which indicates to me that the gain output from this is not as high as normal, not as humbuckery as the humbuckers I normally use, because they're single coils. But because they're put together like this, I keep thinking they're single coils. I've just switched on number 1 and number 2. Let's listen to that. So same settings, let's flip it on. So that's bridge. That did not do what I expected it to do. I expected it to be thicker and bigger and humbuckerish, and it's not. I think it might be like out of phase. It's making it thinner and more trashy. Okay, let's try bridge and number 1 and 3. Bridge 1 and 4, bridge and neck. I think it does that great. I'm really confused about these controls. I thought it was going to humbucker up, and it doesn't. So let's put them all on and see what that sounds like. It's really confusing. Like, you'd expect it to get full and unusable, but it isn't. What a strange, strange guitar. Let's go to channel 2, which is a little bit cleaner, I think. No, now it is. And I'll do some funk. That's a very special sound. That's like filtered, like you'd use an EQ pedal for. What a great sound. That's just the guitar with these two pickups on and whatever that's doing there. You are losing a little bit of volume, or I'm losing a little of volume, I should say. Don't forget, this is called the Surfmaster, and I've barely done any surf on it, but I'm aware that it can do a lot more than just surf. I want to hear that sound with the fuzz. Great fun. Absolutely great fun. I haven't played for a few days. You might have noticed. It's just like I've started guitar again. There's one more pedal I want to put this through, and I'm going to go back to the Fender Deluxe Reverb for this. The Distortion by Drunk Beaver pedals. This one. This is like a DS1, and I think that's going to sound amazing with this guitar. I love that there's so many switches on that distortion pedal. And someone add up the number of switches and combinations of tones with this guitar and this pedal. Let me know that, Smarty Pants, in the comments. What a fantastic guitar. It is very unconventional, and it's taken me out of my comfort zone. I'm going to take it out of its comfort zone now by taking this pick guard off and having a look inside, seeing what that does. I think there might be a little family of people in there pushing buttons and pulling down EQs and things. Let's have a look under the hood. Right, moment of truth. Let's see what happens. I can't get it off. What's going on there? I think it might be stuck under the neck. Oh no. Neck coming off. Nice clean pocket. Let's get you out of the way. And now that should come off. And oh yes. Oh! Oh, you're probably screaming at me. Oh, what a fool. Right. Okay, Andy. Learn from your mistakes. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, so right, we've got, come over here, baby. Large pots with, I don't know what that is written on there. Maybe you recognize it. Leave me a comment if you do. They're large. We've got a regulus jack that works. No complaints there. And then we have, so these pickups are both called bridge, TS3 bridge, and that's called TS3 neck. But the amazing thing is this. That is wired to that switch, which is totally blowing my mind. What is in there? Should we take it apart? It's, oh, should I? I don't want to break it. Ah, screw it. There's lots of stuff going on in there. I must know. I really feel like I shouldn't be doing this. Oh no. Oh no, this feels like a mistake, but I can't stop now. Yes, I can. We're going to leave that a mystery. Inside there is mystery tone juice, people. Something that makes that thing do amazing things. I'm going to put that back on. I really don't want to break this guitar. I respect it too much. Let's measure these pickups and see what's going on there. Volume and tone are both on max. Here's the readout just here. And then bridge pickup alone is 7.49. Second bridge pickup is 7.46, so almost the same. Middle pickup number 3, whatever you want to call it, this one, is 6.38, less than the bridge. And then final pickup, the neck, 6.46. Now, what happens if we put on the bridge and, well, both bridges together? They're out of phase, I think. Yes. So that's out of phase. What about the bridge and the neck? Also out of phase. What about these two middle ones? Also out of phase. Everything together? Oh my goodness. So I'm confused. I'm saying out of phase because it's halving the resistance. But can it be out of phase for? I don't understand that. This guitar has me baffled. I'm going to put it back together again and then have a look at this switch. In fact, just before I put it together, that's the root. So you're getting quite a jazz mastery tone out of it by having so much of the wood removed and having this thin line section here as well. It's hollow section. All right, there's the switch, and they've done a great job. There's a little bit of solder floating around in there. Let's get rid of that. But apart from that, what a tidy bunch of switches. It's back together, it's working, and I'm really glad that it is because I dig this guitar hard. It is the most fun guitar in its price range that I've played this year. And to be fun, it also has to be reliable and built well, and it is both of those things. I haven't actually given you the specs of this, so here we go. This thin line offset body is made of Okoume. This is a bolt-on maple neck with a Jatoba fretboard, which is bound, and it's got these lovely block inlays. The scale length is 24 3/4, which is a Gibson scale length. And it feels compact, and maybe that's why it is. It doesn't feel very jazz mastery, which is odd. And it also doesn't feel very SG-like. I guess it feels more like a Les Paul in that respect. We've got a roller bridge, which is very unusual. I've never used one of those before. We've got this trem system, which I don't know what it is. It just doesn't have any names on it, but it works. It's really, really good. There is a little bit of spring noise in there, though. I think the spring needs stretching out a bit. As for the tuners, we've got Wilkinson E-Z-Lok tuners, some of the best tuners on the market at the moment. And we've got 4 Allen Entwistle pickups. These are the Astrosonic VX pickups. And as for the rest of it, the switching system is odd, to say the least. It's a beautifully spec guitar. I've seen these going for just over €400 and around £400, which is nuts, because this is far superior to any of the Squier guitars that I've played with a Jazzmaster trem. If you get a Jazzmaster, say the Classic Vibe, the trem on that can be horrendous, and it doesn't stay in tune, it doesn't play well, it doesn't feel good. This feels better than any Squier I've ever played, probably. An average Squier, shall we say. There's been some outstanding Squiers. So if you're wondering what it feels like, it does feel like a Mexican Fender, that sort of area. So it punches above its price point, that's for sure. There's a few sort of little niggles about it that I don't like, and that's because there's so much going on. Because of the complicated switching, when I'm switching, I can hear the fact that it's switching electrically, particularly on this, but the more I used it, the more sort of worn in this got, so that might have been an out-of-the-box thing. The volume and tone were absolutely perfect. There are zero complaints there. The same with the output jack. The neck is a little bit too shiny, a bit too glossy, a bit too sticky for my liking, and I'd love to see Vintage do more satin finishes, but I can buff that off myself, and it's already smoother and easier now than it was when I took it out of the box. However, one thing that I would like to have happened is I would have liked them to have blacked out in the F-hole. I know it's a tiny little thing, but I think because you can see the wood, it's a personal preference. I would have blacked that out inside just to make it more 3-color rather than 3-color and a wood tone. Finishing it off, you've got Elixir strings and a Graphtec nut. So once again, at this price point, if you're into weird looking guitars that sound different to anything else on the market at the moment, but still get some sort of classic tones, you've got to take a look at this Revo series. And if you're on the fence about this Surfmaster Quad, just go for it. As well as this Firenza Red, which is kind of coral. It's not as red as I thought it would be. It's slightly more pink. There's also Boulevard Black and Metallic White, and they both, or three, look stunning. Also, if you like this guitar but aren't sure about the pickups and the sounds, there's a P90 version of the Surfmaster as well. There's a 12-string version, and I think I saw a version with 3 pickups, but this is the Quad. So if those are as good as this, then happy times. I'll put purchase links under the video so you can get one of these yourself. I would love it if you left me a comment on what you think of this guitar, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye!